Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey everyone.
Just gonna wait for people to connect. Hi.
Hello.
Good evening. Most of you must be in Europe. It's still midday here. Hi.
Hey everyone.
Can you hear us well?
Can you just give a thumbs up or anything?
Can you tell us
To
if you
tell
can
us how
hear
it
us
is.
well? Yes, perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. We already did this live about a week ago and it wasn't saved, and so we thought that's okay, let's do it again. Anyway, that's a topic we like to talk about, so it's also nice to do it live again and have people coming. So we're going to talk today about being an entrepreneur and being an introvert. And we like this topic because we're talking basically about who we are. And most of you are too, because I was doing test, how do you say, survey,
Survey.
and like 3/4 of the people in my community feel that they are mostly introverted, so it's pretty big. And your
For me it
community
was really
too.
similar, yeah.
Yeah,
I think even higher of introversion.
yeah.
We have some construction in the background, so if there's some noise in the background, then let us know. If you struggle to hear us, then we maybe move somewhere else.
Yeah, if we have to, we'll go inside.
Yeah.
It's Sunday though, but c'est la vie. So maybe we start by introducing ourselves again. Do you
Yeah.
want to start?
Yes, I'm a coach, I'm a breathwork facilitator. I quit my job 6, 7, or 8 months ago, and since then I'm my own boss in life and in the work that I'm doing. It's a really great journey, and what oftentimes people think is that as an introvert it's even more difficult to create your own business, which I'm not 100% agreeing to. Actually, I think it's an even better way for an introvert to create their own business. But this is something that we will talk about in this call, in this live.
Yeah, we had received questions a while ago, and so we'll go through the questions afterwards.
Yeah, exactly.
How much do you love your life today?
I would say 95% love my life. What I don't love so much right now in this situation is that we have a lot of noise around us because of the construction that are going on. This is a bit annoying. I think this is right now what's going on in my life, the 5% that is missing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, me too. So if you're here, you know me a little bit because this is my account. I'm Anglais. I've been an entrepreneur for a while now, for almost 10 years. I was kicked out of a job that I really liked in 2012. I think 2012 was a big awakening year for a lot of people. And afterwards I became an entrepreneur because I wasn't finding a job in my field, which was dating websites. And then I had several companies, I failed, and then I became a naturopath and I started to succeed. And so I've been leading my own way and learning stuff by trying and making mistakes, and then building up on that, and finally it's working. This is also allowing us to create the life that we want. We live in beautiful Costa Rica jungle now, and we can show you what we're seeing. I can probably do that. Is it working? Yeah. So this is a view that we have. We have here down there a river. We have a pool just next to us. That's pretty cool.
And sometimes some dogs visiting us
Yeah.
who want to get some snacks.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
So we have now a pretty good life. what I like the most is being able to respect my own rhythm. I don't like to talk with people or have meetings before 10 or 11 in the morning, and now I can do it. But when I was an employee, I could not do that. But I didn't know that I didn't like it, because I thought it was the way you were supposed to live, to spend the whole day with colleagues from 8 in the morning or 9 in the morning to 6 in the afternoon, and I thought it was normal. But now that I can live with my own rhythm and see people when I decide to, makes a big difference. Yeah, and I feel that I can give my best now, and I don't think I was giving my best back then. Actually, I had a lot of problems. I had insomnia, I had anxiety, many things, and could be that it was also related to pushing myself and being this extroverted world. Now that I reflect about it,
Yeah, it's actually the same for me. I also didn't give 100% in my corporate job, and this for sure has to do with being introverted and extroverted world, but it also has to do with the fact that I was working for something that I was not really believing in.
Yeah. So what is introversion? Do you want to talk about it?
Okay, so what is introversion? Oftentimes, if you think about introversion, we think about introspection. There's right now some noise going on. I hope you can still hear us.
Speak a bit louder.
If you can give us a thumbs up if you can hear us well, even though there's some background noise, this would be fantastic.
Can you still hear?
Okay, I will just continue and see how it's going. So what is introversion? So oftentimes when people hear introversion, they think about introspection, so that you actually...
No, they don't hear.
They don't hear? Okay.
Okay, we have
Then
to move inside.
We will move inside.
Giving you a bit of a visit of the house. Okay. Voila.
Okay.
Is it okay here?
How is it now? I guess it's better.
So we live in paradise, but there is some adjustment to be made. Okay. So what is introversion?
Yeah, introversion. Introversion for me personally means that I'm more turning to my inside, turning to what's actually happening inside of me. And this connection is really, really important to me. This is where I get the rewards from. This is where I get the energy from. I'm not so much focused on what is happening outside of me. This doesn't give me so much energy, and therefore I'm more an introverted person. Oftentimes when you hear introversion, you think about introspection, but it's not really 100% true that introverted people are more introspective. This is not that we have a monopole around this. Extroverted people can also be introspective. It's more about from where we actually get the energy from. And if you think about a coach, you might think, oh, a coach probably is a really extroverted person because you're interacting a lot with people, you do a lot of networking, you are maybe even on social media to create more transparency and more reach to the people. What I have to say, being a coach and an introverted coach, I actually really, really enjoy the work and I get a lot of energy from it. And I think it has to do with the fact that I'm always connected to what's actually happening inside of me, and I have deep conversations with people. I think as an introvert, I feel a lack of energy if I have a lot of small talk with people. And as a coach, it's not the case that you have small talk with people. It's like really deep conversations that you have and want to create.
Yeah, I agree with you that the small talk was depleting my energy, and usually when you're working in a company, there is quite a lot of small talk because you have to socialize with the people. It's considered a good thing when you are part of teams and that you participate and you go to lunches and you go to dinners and to team building stuff and you chat with the people and everything, but quite often it's a bit shallow. It's just you didn't choose those people. You didn't choose them to be around you, and usually you're talking about the weather or like random things, but it's not super interesting. And when you do a job that you truly love and that is connected to empowering others, then usually you go straight to the point, to something that is like deeply interesting from the beginning. You skip the small talk, so you are in a place of vitality and you have all this energy which is available, which was not available before, and you don't know where it's coming from. So it's, to me, it's super healthy. It's more healthy than having a secured job in a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah, I think there's also a lot of times some confusion around introversion and shyness, that introversion means that you're more shy, which is also not 100% true. I mean, there's maybe a correlation that as an introvert you're more likely to be shy, but it's not because you're an introvert that you're shy. I think this is important to understand. I think shyness is oftentimes coming from somewhere else, which is coming from the fear of being judged. And it's for sure that a big thing that I have to face, and I think most coaches or most people who try to be out there have to face, that there are some doubts maybe coming up for them around attachment issues, or trying to find the validation from the outside world, which can make you a bit shy.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that because I didn't want to be seen and I didn't want to be exposed to the critics, exposed to the people who would have an idea about who I am just by the small bits that I would show on social media, and that could come and criticize me or not like me because of what I'm sharing. And yeah, I can relate to that. I was hiding a lot.
If you want, you can also pop some questions into the chat down here. But we also have a list of questions here on the laptop that we will go through. And I would say we just start.
Yeah, but I'm definitely going to turn the fan on.
Okay.
So I'll let you start if you want to already use a question.
Yeah, I can.
It's too hot.
Okay, so one of the first questions that we received is how to occupy your place. I would like so much to be seen and to stay simple. It is difficult when you look for a job. Maybe I'm making a connection between being simple and introvert. So my opinion around that is for sure in oftentimes in the work culture that we find ourselves, especially in the more modern companies or agency, it's a lot around being an extroverted person, connecting with people via social events, attending all the social events, holding presentations in front of people, voicing your voice inside of meetings, which are all qualities that are more related to extroversion. But there's also something else, which is how offices, for example, are set up. They're set up for networking, they're set up for social interactions, which can already be really draining for introverted people. Being surrounded all the time by hundreds of people, sharing a desk with many different people, this can be really, really draining. And I truly believe this is something we have to actually address inside of the work culture, because there's so much bias towards extroversion, and extroverted people get better performance or get a better evaluation of their performance because they are more extroverted. And I think this is not really fair towards more introverted people, and this is for sure an issue that has to be addressed. It's actually something that I try to address in my old job. We created like an initiative around creating more awareness around introversion, what it actually means. And it was already quite helpful, because based on this they changed some of their evaluations. And I hope this is something that in every company can actually happen. And I guess it's more difficult in some companies.
Yeah. The other day we were talking together about it was about Gabor Mate, because you're doing this training with Gabor Mate, and you said there are two choices: either you betray yourself,
Yeah.
you lose authenticity, you betray yourself, or you lose the attachment to the group, you lose the love of the group. And I feel that quite often in a setting that we didn't truly choose, we betray ourselves a little bit every day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can maybe. I think it's a really interesting concept that Gabor Mate mentioned here. So if you grow up, if you're still an infant, a child, there are two basic needs. One is for authenticity, and the other one is for attachment. Authenticity means in this case that you understand what's happening for you. If you're hungry, then you voice it. If you don't feel well, then you also voice it. You basically trust in your gut feelings and your intuition. And the second one is the attachment to the other people, which is really, really important as a child, as an infant, to actually survive.
Yeah.
So if you have this choice, what would you let go of in an emergency? Would you let go of authenticity or of attachment? And you will always let go, first of all, of authenticity, because you depend on the attachment to your parents.
Yeah.
And this is oftentimes coming up again and again when we are older, because we had to let go a part of our authenticity as a child, as an infant.
Yeah, so we continue doing it, and when we grow up, it feels natural, it feels normal to just give up a little bit, compromise. Yeah.
Is this
Next one?
This one is a good one. I believe that if I'm too introverted, I will never be a good coach.
I disagree with that. I consider myself being introverted and an introvert, and I think I'm an excellent coach. So I love the one-on-one setting. I'm not a big fan of the, I have done retreats, but on my own terms. But for me, being with a bunch of people, like a group of people the whole day or for weeks, it gives me anxiety. So I really love being one-on-one with people and having a frame that makes us go deeply to what's truly important and not staying on the surface of things. So I think actually it makes me look deeper, quicker into what's really important. And yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned the retreat. I think there's also something important to be mentioned, the boundaries that you set.
Yeah.
You want to talk about? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you were there for my first retreat. I did one retreat in Thailand and I wanted to do more, but it was before the pandemic. There will be more in the future. Yeah, for a group setting like a retreat, which I loved, holding space for a group, I really had to see what was right for me in terms of energy. So to me, spending the mornings and the afternoon with the group, it was awesome, and one dinner or 2 evenings. But the rest of the time, I really needed my own space in the mornings, in the lunchtime, in the evenings, because this is how I replenish myself, being alone. So yeah, it's just a matter of making choices and setting a frame that works for you. And then when you communicate with the people what works for you, it works for them too. If everything is explicit from the beginning, then it's awesome. I know not everyone likes it that way. I have friends who are organizing retreats and they're almost 24/7 with the group, and this is how they do it. But yeah, everyone has their own energy to respect, and we just need to be creative with who we are.
Yeah. Be creative.
I mean, for a retreat, yeah.
I think there was someone nice who really saying,
Yeah,
I'm ready
thank
for
you.
your retreat.
Let's find a place.
Yeah. So my answer to this question is, or to this statement, I also don't believe in that. I already mentioned the reasons for that. I think as a coach, you want to have the deep conversations with the people. I mean, often as an extrovert probably as well, but as an introvert you're tending towards it even stronger, because this is where you actually get the energy from, and oftentimes I actually feel quite energized after a coaching call, because I was tapped into myself and into the other person. It was a really, and these are oftentimes the really, really deep conversations that give us the energy. But also in a group setting, I remember, this is actually interesting, I remember breathwork sessions that I had to lead where I felt really, really drained afterwards, and breathwork sessions where I felt a lot of energy afterwards. And I think the difference is, in a few of them I felt a lot of resistance inside of myself, because I was afraid of doing things not the right way, of not being validated as a breathwork facilitator and so on. And this was draining a lot of energy. But otherwise, I felt a lot of energy afterwards, because it's deep work that you're doing. It's not superficial. It's happening in the inside of us, and this is always so important for introverts. What's happening inside of us.
Totally, yeah.
Should we go to the next question?
Yeah, I will do the next one. Can we be mostly introverted but learn how to speak up sometimes? Totally. And so I was saying before that I used to be not online, not on social media, but when I discovered natural medicine, then I started to be super interested in sharing what I understood for myself. I wanted to share it with the world, so that's why I started writing books. And because I didn't want just a PR person to talk about the book, then I started to have social media. So I had to step outside of my comfort zone so that I would share what was truly important for me. And then, so step by step, I learned how to speak up for the things that were important to me. Like, you can heal in another way, or you can have different kind of relationships and be super happy by being creative with your relationships. Or they're lying to you, don't trust big pharma. Like, all those things that are very important to me, I could let them out, because it was bigger than my fear of being seen, and bigger than my wish of being left alone or staying in my bubble. So I think you can consider yourself as an introvert, but still speaking up when you feel that you have something valuable to say and that this is important to speak it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I truly believe that as well. What I notice more often with introverts is that they only speak up when there's really something to add to the conversation, which I think is a really, really valuable thing in a world where there's so much chit-chat, so much noise. So the quality of what you're actually saying is even more important. It's not about the quantity.
Yeah.
The next question is, can you talk about the fact that it is often seen as a bad thing, especially in the corporate world, the introversion? One thing that comes up for me is, until 2012, introversion was listed as a personality disorder in the DSM, is it DSM, right?
Mm-hmm.
Diagnostic Statistical Manual, which is used to actually make diagnoses about patients that you have in psychiatry. This is really interesting, I think, because I mean we probably all agree being introvert is not a personality disorder, but it was seen as a personality disorder for a long time. And I think this is also still reflected in our world, that oftentimes we think about ourselves that there's something wrong if we're an introvert, or other people think that there's something wrong about us if we're an introvert.
Yeah. But there's nothing wrong about us. It's just, it's a matter of knowing yourself and respecting your needs, and then you go to others with joy and with pleasure, but respecting your needs.
Yeah. The next question is how to find your own path as an introvert. I'm 42 and I'm looking for my path. Okay, so there are a few things in it. I think your age doesn't matter. You still have time to find your own path. It's never too late for that. And as an introvert, I guess you probably have the advantage is that you actually spend more time with yourself, so more time for introspection, which is maybe creating more awareness for yourself, more awareness for what you actually want in life. So I would take this advantage to be more introspective in your life and to actually find out what it is. There was one more thing that I wanted to mention, but I forgot.
I do have something too, is that 42 is still young. I don't know why we think that 42 is not young. Life is going to be long. I think in the upcoming years we're going to discover many things more about how we can heal with vibration and many different things. And the world is going to change a lot. I think we're going to live long. So the earlier the better that you discover that you want to change. But it's never too late. Today is always the better time to do it because you owe yourself living something that is truly working for you.
Yeah. It came to my mind what I actually wanted to say is that if you're an introvert and you spend maybe more time by yourself, question how you actually spend your time by yourself, because nowadays it's so easy to get distracted. So there's actually not much space for introspection, even as an introvert, because there's so much distraction in our world nowadays, not only coming from social events, but also coming from our phone, or coming from our TV, or coming from, I don't know, what kind of sources there are for distraction, but there's so many. So I think it's about finding space for yourself and be yourself and connect to yourself on a deeper level.
I think we have an amazing opportunity with what's happening in the world, the lockdowns and the forced change of jobs. If you had a job and then you can't keep it anymore because they're asking something from you that you don't want to do, this is a great opportunity to truly ask yourself the right questions. Do you live in the city that you want to live in the place you want to live in? Are you doing every day the job you want to do? Are you surrounded by people that you respect, that you love, and that you care for? And like all those questions, which are deeply important. It's who are you, and what do you want to do with your time, knowing who you are? This is like the deepest question that you can ask yourself.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's lovely said. This question coming up here. Should we take it? Take a look.
Is that there are questions coming here?
Yeah.
First time I see.
Okay.
Thank you, Justine. How long a professional reconversion in this way can take? How long does it take?
To make the transition to
yeah.
Okay. For me, it took around 3 years, and it seems really long. And oftentimes we think, oh, we're not so patient. But I was basically doing in 3 years already the things that I really love to do. So I started first of all training to become a breathwork facilitator, which gave me a lot of energy and a lot of inspiration. And then I would use my working days to 4 days a week to actually have more time for the things that I really love to do. And then I did a coaching training, I trained my coaching muscles, and then I quit my job. So this took me around 2 to 3 years maybe. But it really depends on where you are in your life, if you already know what you want to do, if you already have the skills and the knowledge around the things that you want to do, and what the opportunities are in your current work situation to make the shift happen. For me, it was possible to reduce my working days to 4 days, which was great as an entry point.
Yeah. I think it can be very fast or very long depending on how much time you spend creating your new reality. Because if you spend 1 day per week creating your new reality, it will take slower than if you're full-time creating your new reality. Because obviously getting settled in a new way of working as an entrepreneur, you're gonna need practice. So the more you practice with people, the more you will feel confident in your practice. And you're gonna need time to create content so that people get to know you and know your art, what you're offering to the world. So maybe it's writing articles or making lives, making posts, writing newsletters, finding places where you can speak about what you do. So it can be a full-time job. And to me, if you do everything, and maybe if you take a coach which is going to push you to show you where you're being a bit resistant, where you're shy, but you could overcome it, then you can gain a lot of time. So I think a few months could be enough, but usually it's more 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Some say that you need 10 years to be mastering something and being comfortable at something. I think time is kind of shrinking now because there is some acceleration of the time with what we're experiencing worldwide. And it's just a matter of who you want to be and if you go in it full on.
Yeah. It's also around consistency.
Yeah.
Like for example, when I did the shift, I was doing every day something for what I wanted to create in the future. So every day at least a half hour, but most of the time even more. So right before work I always was using the time to study. After work it was oftentimes training or class that I had to attend. So every day I tried to do something, and it created a good momentum for me to make the change, to make the shift.
Yeah. That's a good transition for the next question, which is, I don't see how I could succeed by being an introvert. Well, that's a good question, because I was also asking myself the same question about 5-6 years ago, and I actually went to an event, which was an event in Paris. How do you call it? Like a bit of a show with different coaches, and the title was How to be a Successful Discreet Entrepreneur. How to be discreet but to succeed. And so I paid for it. I took hours to go there, and I went there, and each coaches was explaining how you have to overcome the fear of being seen. And I felt it was a ripoff. I actually wrote them after the event and I said, come on, that's not what you said in the title. That's not why I paid for it. That's not why I came. And then I had to face my reality, which was that I wanted so much to be able to stay in the shadow, but still become successful. That was my dream. But by going to this event and facing the disappointment, I had to realize that it was not a choice for me to be discreet. It was because I was afraid to be in the light.
Exactly. And what comes to my mind is that introversion should not be an excuse for you to do something, because if you're afraid of being seen, this not necessarily has to do with the fact that you're an introvert, because in essence you're a confident, authentic person. Oftentimes something happens in our childhood or in our development that makes us shy. You might be introverted, but as I said, it has nothing to do with being shy. There's maybe more introverted people who are shy than extroverted, but in the essence it's all about finding back to our confidence and finding back to our power, and this is essential to every one of us. Every one of us is at the core confident and powerful.
Yeah. I feel that it's also very beautiful that we can express that and not be afraid to talk about it to you and to look different or of being judged for what we're sharing. And I feel that this is a great opportunity for everyone to speak up about what they no longer want to experience in their lives or force themselves to do or to be, because we don't have to. Yeah.
Okay. Are there any more questions? If so, you can pop them into the chat.
Yeah. So, do you want to talk about what you do?
Yes, I can do that. So in the beginning, I already said that I'm a coach and a breastwork facilitator. I created a training with two other dear friends of mine for people who are interested in becoming a breastwork facilitator. It's already running right now, but there will be another training happening next year. We don't know exactly which date yet, but this will be announced on my Instagram account and on Spirit of Breast Collective. And I'm also a coach, and I'm helping people to get unstuck from okayness, to make big transitions in their life, for example, career transitions, or working closer towards what they really dream of in their life. And yeah, this is what I'm focusing as a coach. And the different stages that I go through with my clients, you can check it out on my account. There's a post once, this coaching package on my website, and I have also right now a few spots open. So if you're interested, you can jump on a free call with me, and then we can get to know each other. We can see what kind of coaching would be interesting for you, and yeah, if you're fitting to each other.
Yeah. And I don't do one-on-one coaching right now. I have a program coming in French, which is d'école, and this is for the practitioners, the coaches, the facilitators, holistic doctors who want to have their business take off. And so we go through the mindset, mostly the mindset, and then the communication, growing communication skills, and not being afraid of the admin stuff, and getting organized, and all of these things. And it's coming back in January. So yeah, I'm also training coaches to become an awesome coach from the heart, and help others also reach their hearts and inner knowing of who they are and what they want to do in life. Yeah, it's beautiful.
It is.
Yeah. So there is no questions. Thank you for joining us today. Have a lovely evening.